Now it's time to understand about the Kubernetes architecture. So let's go to the Kubernetes architecture, although we will go in much detail tomorrow, but for the timing, we are just covering what we need to learn out of them. So there are many way to define your Kubernetes architecture. It's all depend on your requirement, because you can have your single node, you can have multiple node, you can have your in cluster Kubernetes cluster in your physical host, on your virtual machines, on the cloud. It's all depend, or even you can have the mix of that one. So as per your requirement, we can define our Kubernetes architecture. So let's check one of the image which is mentioned here. If you see, there are two things here: worker node and master node. Here we are having two worker node, here we are having one master node. So the thing is, this master node, whenever we need to communicate anything, we need to work on this master node, and this master node will interact with kubelet, which is having on this worker node, and whatever workload will run, your container will run here. But directly you cannot see these containers, because in the Kubernetes system, pod is the smallest unit that you can deploy. What does that mean? Whenever you need to run any container, you need to execute the pod. Once the pod is created, your container will run inside the pod, and it will all will be managed through these pods only. Means all the containers, your application will be managed through these pods, and this Kubernetes infrastructure will deploy these pods, and how this pod will look like, how you need to define it, that we will also look. And whatever components you are seeing here, like API server, controller, scheduler, and key value store, that is our etcd, your etcd, whatever you name it. So the thing is, these are the four main component of your master node. Here you can see kubelet, container runtime, and network proxy. These are the main component of your worker node. And whatever component you are seeing on your master node, so again a container itself inside the master node. So how it will be? It will not be a different type of component. It's a container inside your master node. And how you can access this API server? It can be accessible either through the CLI, that is kube control, kubectl, that we will look, from where you need to run the command, and that kube control will connect this API, interact with this one, and then it will give the command to these internal components. But if you want to directly connect with these components, you can do it. You can directly connect with the API server, then communication will establish accordingly. This will care the role for what it is assigned. So when we are talking about the API server, here it's the primary management component of your Kubernetes, and it's responsible for orchestrating all the operations, whatever we are talking about, scaling, updates, and on. Or in the sense, we can say it is the act as a gateway to your cluster. If we talk about the scheduler is actually identify the right node to place your container based on the resource limitation. If we talk about the HCD, this is a critical part of Kubernetes, because it's a etcd database that stores the state of your cluster, including nodes and the workload information in a key value format. How it will look like? Let's have a look on one of the definition. So now we come to the Kubernetes side, where we try to understand how the pods will be defined, how our container will be defined. This is just a review session about the Kubernetes, and also while going through the exams, you will have the access to this platform as well. That means you will be able to access this kubernetes.io website from in your exam as well. So it's kind of open exam, but you need to perform some tasks for your certification exam, but you will have direct access to this one. So you can directly copy from here the files, and then you can modify according to your activity which is assigned in the exam. So let's understand what is pod. So if you see, a pod is a group of one or more containers. That means the pod will run one or more containers. So how we can define? It's a sample file of a pod. Here we are defining pod. Here if you see kind is pod. That means this file is for the pod definition. Here the name of the pod you can see here. Inside this one you can see the specification, where we are defining containers information. What is the information we are defining? It's a name of the container, and then image of the container, what it will use and what will be code for this one. And whenever we need to create the pod out of this sample file, we need to run this kube control apply command, and we need to give path of this file. This is the simple way to create your pod. Actually, there is two way to create your containers or pod. Either you can use YAML file or you can use the command line interface. So we are having both the way. This is the best way to define it because here you can see the definition what you are assigning, or you can use the commands as well. So what are the commands we are having? If you see this one, command line tool, here you can see all the commands. Okay, so it's kind of a QCTL cheat sheet, and the commands which is mentioned here, it is already given that it's for Kubernetes version 1.28. To check the version, you can use this command. Next thing, most of the time, what will happen in the exam, you will directly search for the pods and all, okay, that you need to define in your exam or in perform activity. But most of the things you will get it here. For example, you want to fetch the resources, right? You can directly go here and check the commands for fetching. If you want to update the resources, you can go directly here and now come back to this point. Okay. Mm. Okay. After pod, what you want actually, you want to scale it, right? For that one, we have a term called replica set. And in the replica set file, we have the term called replica that will define that how many pods you want to run for your environment. So this file can help you if you want to run a pod with 3 replicas of that one, that you can do. Even you can use some command through which you can increase or decrease of the count of your pods. Now let's see where you need to do to get these all things. So the website is kubernetes.io, where you will get everything, whatever you need it. You can see here the documentation are available, blogs are available, training is available, case study also available. That will be helpful because being a single person, you can't go through each and everything. Whatever you need it, you just need to come to this website and then you can get it. Whenever you need anything, you can just search here. Accordingly, you will get it, and all the documents, concept, labs, everything related to that term, you can get it here itself. You can search it, you can access it, just to get familiar with this platform because it is very useful while you are going through the exam or you want to learn Kubernetes thoroughly.